Joey, let's start out with some of your drawbar settings.
Okay, well, first of all, I use, for my sound, my solo, my basic settings, okay, first of all, my B-flat preset, which uses the first set of drawbars. I usually leave that at full organ, which is all the drawbars out, okay? And then, that's so, for instance, when I go into something like okay? Full organ. On my B preset, I pull the first three. This is my basic solo sound, with the percussion on, soft, fast, and third, and most of the time, the chorus vibrato on C3. This really is the Jimmy Smith sound. He came up with this setting.
Right.
Okay? And all of us as organ players use it. I think we've all tried to come up with different things, but when you come down to it, that's the sound, so why mess with it? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, for the pedal drawbars, I always use the 16-foot drawbar, exclusively pretty much. I almost never use the 8-foot drawbar on the B3. And depending on the room size and the sound of the organ, either in 5 or wherever, most of the time it's all the way out. The next set I have for the lower manual now. And I'll pull this drawbar out to about here. This is the third drawbar. This is your 8-foot drawbar. And I pull the 4-foot drawbar out to about here. And what's that good for? What this is good for is chords. So if you're playing a ballad, there you got. Okay. And then the last set of drawbars, which goes for the B preset on the lower manual, I pull my 16-foot all the way, my 8-foot all the way, and depending how I feel, how I want it to sound, I pull the 5 1/3 drawbar out to about 3. And that little sound in there for the chord. Now this is my basic setting. Okay, for different things, I'll use different settings. Here's a setting I'll use for my soloing here, okay, which we talked about. Sometimes for soloing, I'll pull my 4th drawbar out. You can get pretty funky with it. Use that setting. Okay, sometimes I'll, first 3 and the 1-foot, the last drawbar, turn the percussion off.
Get that little whistle.
Yeah. The Groove Holmes sound. It's also nice for chords. It's also good if you're playing a blues, like a shuffle or something. You know, for that kind of thing. First 3 drawbars and the last one. Okay. And usually I leave that pulled most of the time because when the percussion's on, that drawbar's not working anyway.
It's out of it.
Right. And then the other setting I use, now this is for like the Earl Garner style playing, which I think Jimmy Smith also came up with on the organ. I pull the first drawbar and the last 4 drawbars, okay. Now, a lot of people use this setting with the percussion off. Okay? I leave the percussion on with it, and so does Jimmy Smith. And that's why a lot of people never thought they'd get the sound quite right with that setting. They didn't realize he's using percussion with that. So really, this drawbar's not even in on it. So really, it's the first one and the last, second to the last 3. And here's with the Leslie going, and you get. Okay? So that's the setting for that. I call that squabbling. Squabbling. Jack's got the abra, I got squabbling.
You got squabbling.
Yeah.
The abra, how do you say? Abra?
Abra.
Abra.
Abra, abra, abra. Okay? And those are basically, that's my basic settings, yeah. There's a lot of others. Sometimes 16-foot draw with the percussion. The vibrato off, put the percussion on slow. Maybe on normal. You can do some nice things like okay? Or like this. First and third, percussion on normal, and second. It's almost like a steel drum set.
A little reggae.
Right, and then I'll also use for piano type sound, percussion on normal, slow, and second, like this. Okay? So those are all my basic settings.